Welcome to another episode of Education and Technology TV. Why Malaysian tech startups fail and what's changing now. Malaysia, a country known for its rich culture, diverse population, and thriving food scene. But beneath the surface of satay stalls and skyscrapers, there's another story, one of ambition, struggle, and reinvention. In the early 2010s, Malaysia appeared poised to become Southeast Asia's next tech hub. Government-backed initiatives like MSC Malaysia, the launch of Cyberjaya as a Silicon Valley of the East, and generous grants for digital entrepreneurs created an optimistic wave. Tech startups were blooming in co-working spaces from Kuala Lumpur to Penang. There was excitement in the air. The future was digital, and Malaysia was ready. But then, reality hit. Most of those startups are now gone. Many never reached profitability. Some couldn't scale. Others died silently, websites gone. Teams disbanded. Dreams shelved. So, what happened? Why did so many Malaysian tech startups fail? And perhaps more importantly, what's starting to change now? 1. The problem of playing it safe. At the heart of the issue was a culture that discouraged risk. While neighboring countries like Indonesia and Vietnam were embracing disruption, many Malaysian startups played it safe. Instead of aiming for innovation, they cloned existing models, local versions of Grab, Shopee, or Airbnb, but without the same level of funding or aggressive strategy. Entrepreneurs often focused on what works instead of what's next. The result? An overcrowded market of undifferentiated solutions that failed to stand out. Investors, too, were cautious. Rather than taking moonshots, they preferred steady, proven ventures. That meant fewer high-impact tech innovations and more copycat e-commerce stores, digital marketing agencies, or lifestyle apps that never found traction. Second, grant dependency and the illusion of success. Malaysia was generous with government grants. On paper, this was a great thing. It helped young startups get off the ground. But for some, it created a dangerous dependency. Many startups began chasing grants, not customers. Business models were shaped around what would win funding, rather than what would solve real problems. This gave rise to grantpreneurs, founders who were experts at writing proposals but struggled when it came to building sustainable products. When the funding dried up, so did the startups. There was also a tendency to prematurely celebrate success. Awards were handed out. Pitch competitions were won. Startups were featured in the media. But behind the scenes, revenue was stagnant and user numbers flat. In the startup world, premature celebration can be fatal. 3. Talent drain and the skills gap. Malaysia has no shortage of bright minds, but keeping them is another story. Many of the country's top developers, designers, and data scientists are lured away to Singapore, Australia, or Europe, where salaries are higher, ecosystems more mature, and opportunities more global. For the startups left behind, this meant building tech products with limited talent and often limited experience. Many struggled to build robust apps or scale infrastructure. Founders had ideas, but lacked technical co-founders. As a result, some startups never made it past the prototype stage. Compounding this was a mismatch between university education and startup needs. Fresh grads often lacked the real-world skills needed to thrive in a fast-paced tech environment. Fourth, fragmented ecosystem and lack of collaboration. Unlike startup hubs like Silicon Valley or Tel Aviv, where collaboration fuels innovation, Malaysia's startup ecosystem has historically been fragmented. Startups worked in silos. Agencies and ministries often duplicated efforts. There was a lack of shared data, shared knowledge, or cross-industry partnerships. Even among founders, collaboration was rare. In an ecosystem still maturing, Many operated in a zero-sum mindset, afraid to share ideas or cooperate out of fear of competition. But ecosystems don't grow in isolation. They grow through connection. 5. Limited global vision. Finally, one of the most common reasons Malaysian tech startups failed, they didn't think globally. Many startups built solutions only for the Malaysian market population, 33 million. Compare that to Indonesia's 270 million, or the global market of 8 billion. Without thinking beyond borders, these startups limited their potential scale. Some didn't localize for other languages or regulations. Others feared venturing beyond familiar territory. But in tech, growth often lies in foreign markets, not just domestic ones. But here's the twist. Things are changing. The past few years have sparked a quiet revolution in the Malaysian startup scene. One that's flying under the radar, but may soon put Malaysia back in the spotlight. A new generation of founders, younger entrepreneurs today are different. Many are globally educated, digitally native, and deeply aware of regional trends. They're not just building apps, they're solving real, urgent problems. Startups like Policy Street, offering inclusive digital insurance, or StoreHub, helping SMEs digitize their businesses, or Aerodyne, now one of the world's leading drone service companies, headquartered right in Cyberjaya. These are no longer just Malaysian startups. They are regional players, thinking big from day one. Regional capital and global mentors. The funding landscape is evolving too. More VCs from Singapore, Japan, and the Middle East are looking at Malaysia, not just as a consumer base, but as a talent hub. Accelerators like 500 Global and Antler are nurturing new founders here, bringing in international mentorship and exposure. With the rise of remote work, Malaysian startups can now hire global talent or serve global markets from a local base. The playing field is finally leveling. Policy shifts and institutional support agencies like MRANTI and MDEC are no longer just giving grants, they're building innovation pipelines. The Malaysian government has rolled out tax incentives, sandbox environments for regulated industries, and even visa programs for global digital nomads. The push for a digital Malaysia is more focused now. Less about branding, more about outcomes. A realization. Tech is not optional. The pandemic was a wake-up call. Businesses that hadn't digitized were left behind. And suddenly, the importance of homegrown tech became painfully clear, from logistics to payments to healthcare. Even conservative sectors began embracing tech solutions. This has opened up new markets for startups in B2B, fintech, edtech, and health tech. In many ways, failure has been Malaysia's best teacher. So, what's the takeaway? Malaysia's startup scene isn't broken. It was just going through growing pains. Yes, many startups failed, and those stories should be told. But within those failures are lessons that have reshaped the ecosystem. Startups now are bolder, more connected, and more aware of the global game. It's not perfect yet. Challenges remain: talent retention, risk appetite, and deeper capital pools. But something is stirring. The quiet rise of Malaysia's second tech wave.